Let me tell you a small story. Once, a young man walked up to a sculptor who had spent months carving a beautiful statue from stone. The man asked, "How did you create something so divine out of a lifeless rock?" The sculptor smiled and replied, "I didn't create it. The statue was always there. I just removed the extra stone." That is what work does to us. It chips away the unnecessary, polishes our character, sharpens our skills, and reveals the masterpiece hidden within. We often separate life and work as if life is something that begins after 6 p.m. or only happens on weekends. But in reality, work is a huge part of our life, and it is not just about earning money. It's about discovering meaning, contributing to the world, and shaping our identity. If you bake, build, teach, design, heal, or manage, whatever your field, remember this: your work is not a chore, it's a canvas. And how you treat your work is how you treat your life. When you give your best in every task, you aren't just building projects, you're building yourself. Sometimes we think we are too small to make a difference. But even a tiny matchstick can light up a dark cave. Never underestimate the power of sincere effort. Whether people notice or not, your work becomes a mirror of your soul. You see, life is not judged by the titles we hold, but by the value we add. It's not about being the CEO, but about being excellent. Even if you are just cleaning the floor, a clean floor reflects a clean heart. So don't wait for something bigger. Treat every small assignment as sacred. Because excellence in small things leads to greatness in big things. Let your work speak even when your words are silent. Let it tell the world who you are without introduction. Because in the end, our work doesn't just define our career, it defines our character. And that, my friends, defines our life. Every form of work, no matter how simple it appears on the surface, holds the hidden potential to shape and reveal the very core of who we are. Take the example of a potter. He begins with a lump of raw clay that looks unattractive, shapeless, and unworthy, but through steady hands, focused attention, and delicate shaping, he turns it into something graceful and valuable. Similarly, our daily work may start with ordinary tasks, repetitive duties, and unremarkable routines but through consistent effort and sincerity, it gradually sculpts our personality. It builds patience when we deal with slow progress, cultivates humility when our efforts go unnoticed, and strengthens perseverance when challenges pile up. The transformation is often so subtle, we don't even realize it's happening. You might think, I'm just handling files, or I'm just serving customers. But pause and observe. Are you learning discipline as you show up on time every day? Are you developing empathy as you deal with difficult people calmly? Are you becoming more responsible as you complete tasks without supervision? These are not minor upgrades. These are foundational traits that shape the human being behind the worker. And these qualities, once developed through work, don't stay at the office or workplace. They spill over into your home, your relationships, and even into the way you look at life. Work, therefore, becomes more than just a means to earn. It becomes a daily meditation, a workshop for the soul. You may not see instant results. It's like watering a seed. You don't see growth on day one. But day by day, something begins to change inside. The laziness starts to disappear. The attitude becomes sharper. The restlessness settles into a steady rhythm. Without any grand announcement, you begin to rise, not just in your career, but in your character. And one day, you look back and realize that what once felt like ordinary labor was actually the sacred tool that carved out the best version of yourself. Many people live their lives with the belief that work and life are two entirely separate things, as if work is just a transaction, a necessary evil we endure, while life only begins after 6 p.m. or on the weekends. This mindset is what creates a deep disconnect between who we are and what we do. We wake up each morning dreading the hours ahead, hoping to fast forward through the day so we can finally relax, be happy, or feel alive. But this approach is not only unsustainable, it is unfair to our work, to ourselves, and to our time on this planet. The truth is, work is not a break from life, it is life. It's where we spend most of our time. If you do the math, you'll find that the average person spends nearly 1/3 of their life working. That's thousands and thousands of hours. So, if we choose to sleepwalk through it, waiting for a real life to begin later, we are letting the best part of our lives slip by unnoticed. Think about it. In the conversations you have at work, the problems you solve, the moments you feel challenged or stretched or even stressed, these are all experiences that build you. The stress teaches you endurance. The failures teach you humility. The teamwork teaches you cooperation. The difficult clients teach you patience. These aren't just work lessons. They are life lessons unfolding in real time, every single day. If you start treating your workplace as your personal development ground, everything begins to shift. You'll no longer see a job as a place you clock in and out of, but as a sacred opportunity to evolve. You'll stop dragging yourself through tasks and start engaging with them as chances to grow. The emails you write, the calls you take, the files you manage, the people you interact with, each one becomes a building block of your identity. We must stop this illusion that work is something we do just for money, while life is something we do for happiness. Why not merge the two? Why not infuse joy into our work and purpose into our profession? When we make that shift, we don't just perform better, we live better. Instead of constantly chasing joy after hours, we begin to find it in the hours we once dreaded. So, the question isn't how we can separate work from life. The question is how we can honor work as life. Because when we do, we begin to experience every day, every hour, and every task not as a burden, but as an opportunity to live more fully, more consciously, and more completely. Excellence at work does not require a fancy title, a luxurious corner office, or a spotlight from the world. It begins not with position, but with perspective. A person working in the smallest of roles with the right attitude can carry more dignity than someone sitting at the top with indifference or arrogance. The size of your job doesn't define the size of your impact. Your mindset does. We've been conditioned to chase labels and ladders, believing that only big roles are worthy of respect. But real fulfillment and respect come not from the designation we carry, but from the dedication we show. Imagine a janitor cleaning the floors of a hospital. Most people would walk past, not even offering a glance. But consider this. His work directly impacts the safety and hygiene of patients, doctors, and visitors. One careless sweep could lead to infection. One thoughtful act could prevent it. Isn't that powerful? Now imagine he does his job each day with the awareness that his work matters, even if no one acknowledges him. That's excellence. That's self-respect. That's silent leadership. When we think we're just a clerk, just a receptionist, just a helper, we unknowingly limit our own value. But the truth is, your value is not measured by what others think of your position. It is measured by the intention and excellence you pour into every action. A handwritten note, a well-organized spreadsheet, a timely response, a clean desk. These may seem like minor things, but they speak volumes about who you are. Small actions, when done with great care, reflect the highest standards of work ethic. There's a beauty in showing up every day with the quiet conviction that no task is beneath you and no effort is wasted. You begin to find joy not in praise, but in precision. You take pride not in applause, but in alignment with your values and your purpose. When you bring excellence into everything you touch, you transform ordinary work into extraordinary contribution. The world might recognize you later. Awards, appreciation, recognition, those things come and go. But what remains is your own inner satisfaction, your sense of growth, your silent victories. You know when you've done a job well, and that feeling is more rewarding than any applause could ever be. So don't wait for a promotion or a platform to give your best. Be excellent where you are, with what you have, and who you are becoming in the process. The effort you give today, no matter how small it appears, is shaping the person you'll be tomorrow. The act of working with integrity is perhaps one of the most powerful, yet underrated forms of self-transformation. Integrity is not something you put on like a uniform when others are watching. It's a deeply rooted value that shows up in the smallest, quietest moments of your work. It's visible. It is visible in how you meet deadlines when there is no supervision, how you correct mistakes when no one will notice, and how you speak the truth even when it is inconvenient. Over time, this quiet discipline does more than just help you do good work. It molds your character in ways you may not even realize. Think of a river. It doesn't make noise as it shapes the rocks in its path, but slowly and steadily it carves through stone and gives the land a new form. Integrity works in the same way. Every time you choose honesty over convenience, accountability over excuses, and quality over shortcuts, you're chiseling something far more valuable than a paycheck. You're sculpting your soil. You begin to build a strong inner structure that can withstand pressure, temptation, and even failure. Ours to be in the work is one of the greatest training grounds for integrity because it constantly places us in situations that test our values. Will you take credit for someone else's effort? Will you do the right thing even if it delays results? Will you admit when you're wrong even if no one else saw the mistake? Each of these situations becomes an opportunity, not just to prove something to others, but to prove something to yourself. And that internal compass, once calibrated through consistent integrity, begins to guide every area of your life. You may not be applauded for your honesty. In fact, you may face discomfort or even loss. But in the long run, integrity always rewards its practitioners. It builds trust, not just in the eyes of others, but within your own self. There's a quiet confidence that grows in a person who knows they're doing the right thing. Even when it's hard, that kind of inner strength cannot be taught in schools or bought with money. It must be earned through choices again and again. When you carry integrity into your work, you start becoming dependable. People begin to trust you, not just with tasks, but with leadership, with sensitive matters, with responsibilities that matter. And more importantly, you start trusting yourself. You begin to realize that no matter how chaotic the outside world may be, you are anchored within. That inner stability becomes your greatest asset. So, while others may run behind speed and shortcuts, walk the longer path. Build your work on the foundation of integrity, even if it takes more time, more effort, and more sacrifice. Because while quick success may bring temporary applause, integrity brings lifelong respect from the world and from the person who matters most to you. Our contribution to the world is not measured by how loud we speak or how visible we are It is measured by the quiet impact we make through the quality and sincerity of our work. In a world where everyone is in a rush to be seen, to be heard, and to be praised, we often forget the power of silent excellence. It's not always the loudest voice that creates the biggest shift. Sometimes it's the most consistent one. The work you do day in and day out, the effort you give even when no one is watching, the extra mile you walk without being asked. These are the real marks of contribution. Consider the gardener in a large institution. He's not in the boardroom, not making policy decisions, and not part of leadership meetings. Yet every flower that blooms and every tree that offers shade on that campus does so because of his quiet dedication. The visitors might not know his name, but they admire his work. His contribution is silent, but it enhances the entire experience for everyone else. That is the essence of true service, impact without applause. And there's a certain purity in giving your best without seeking recognition. It develops a sense of internal fulfillment that no external reward can match. When you work with this mindset, your motivation shifts. You are no longer driven by praise or performance reviews. You are driven by purpose. You don't ask, what will I get for this? Instead, you ask, what value can I add through this? This shift may sound subtle, but it creates a massive change in how you experience your work. Suddenly, your job isn't just a task. It becomes a gift, a chance to make someone's day better. A chance to bring order where there's chaos, peace where there's stress, and clarity where there's confusion. Whether you're solving a technical issue, responding to a client, mentoring a junior employee, or organizing a cluttered workspace, you're actively shaping someone's experience of the world. Isn't that powerful? People often confuse visibility with value, but the most valuable systems, like oxygen, gravity, or a stable heartbeat, are often invisible. Similarly, your work doesn't have to be on stage to matter. If it carries intention, precision, and care, it automatically becomes meaningful. The world may not cheer for you every day, but someone is benefiting from your consistency. And that is enough. When you begin to see your work as service, not just service to a company or a boss, but to society, to humanity, you begin to elevate its importance. You no longer treat it as a burden or a transaction. It becomes an act of giving, a form of devotion, a quiet offering of your time, energy, and talents for the greater good. And here's the beautiful part, even if no one else notices the quality of your work, you will. You'll go to bed each night with the quiet confidence of someone who gave their best. And that sense of self-respect, that quiet personal victory, is worth more than any applause from the outside world. It's easy to fall into the trap of waiting for the right opportunity to give our best effort. We often tell ourselves, I'll be more committed when I get that promotion, or I'll take my work seriously when it really matters. But what we fail to understand is that greatness, not something that arrives suddenly, like a guest knocking at our door. It is something that is built slowly, quietly, and patiently through the way we handle the smallest of responsibilities. The foundation of excellence is laid not in grand moments, but in the seemingly insignificant tasks that we perform every single day. Imagine an artist preparing a canvas. Before the first stroke of color, there's hours of preparation, stretching the canvas, mixing the colors, sharpening the brushes. None of this is seen in the final artwork, but without it, the masterpiece would not be possible. In the same way, every report you write, every call you answer, every piece of data you double check, every meeting you prepare for, even if it feels repetitive or unnoticed, is shaping the professional and the person you are becoming. People who become masters in their field rarely waited for ideal situations to act. They treated every moment as training. Every client interaction became a lesson in communication. Every mistake became a lesson in humility. Every obstacle became a chance to strengthen their resolve. They didn't wait for a title or a trophy to behave like professionals. They acted with excellence when no one was watching me. And that mindset prepared them for moments when everyone was. The truth is, life is always watching. Life has a way of testing us before trusting us. It observes how we manage the small before it gives us the big. If you are careless with small responsibilities, why would life trust you with large ones? But if you bring commitment, care, and consistency to the things that seem ordinary, life will eventually offer you extraordinary opportunities. We often admire people who have achieved success and wonder what secret they discovered. More often than not, their secret is this: they didn't wait for motivation, recognition, or permission. They started small and they stayed consistent. They made every little action count. And over time, those actions stacked up to become something remarkable. When you treat every task, no matter how repetitive or boring, with honor and mindfulness, you cultivate a habit of excellence. You rewire your mind to find meaning even in the mundane. You become the kind of person who doesn't need external pressure to perform. You act from within, because your standard is not based on the world's approval, but your own values. This is where true transformation begins. You may not realize it while you're quietly doing your work, but these small efforts are building habits, developing character, and preparing you for bigger stages. By showing up fully today, you are making space for a more capable, more refined version of yourself to emerge tomorrow. So, instead of waiting for a golden opportunity, treat the moment in front of you as gold. Polish it with attention, shape it with sincerity, and watch how greatness unfolds. Not through one grand leap, but through thousands of small, steady steps taken with intention. Success is often portrayed as a destination, a moment of arrival marked by applause, titles, or financial gain. But if you observe closely, true and lasting success is not defined solely by external achievements. It is deeply tied to how much we grow through our work. Every job, every project, every responsibility we take on becomes a classroom for personal evolution. And if we are paying attention, the lessons we learn at work are not just professional. They're profoundly personal. Workplaces are not just spaces for productivity. They are mirrors reflecting who we are, what we value, and how we respond to life. In the pressure of deadlines, we learn time management. In disagreements with colleagues, we discover the importance of patience and communication. When we're faced with failures, we learn humility and resilience. When we succeed, we learn how to stay grounded. Each challenge is like a teacher disguised as a task, offering us a chance to develop mental strength and emotional intelligence. You don't have to attend a seminar on leadership to become a leader. Often, the way you handle a chaotic day, the way you guide a confused teammate, or the way you stay calm under stress becomes your real leadership training. Similarly, you don't need a motivational course on discipline when your work already demands consistency and accountability from you every day. The very act of waking up early, getting ready, showing up, and doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it, is discipline in motion. When we embrace our work not just as a source of income, but as a source of insight, our experience of it transforms completely. We stop running away from difficult assignments because we realize they're building our capacity. We stop complaining about pressure because we begin to see it as training for endurance. Even the people we find challenging begin to play a role in sharpening our ability to stay balanced and kind. Every situation becomes an opportunity for character development. This is where the real beauty of work begins to unfold. It makes us better human beings, not just better employees. It teaches us to organize not just our schedules, but our thoughts. It teaches us how to manage not just projects, but emotions. It shows us the power of focus, the value of preparation, and the gift of humility. These are life skills that extend far beyond the office walls and enrich every area of our existence. Our relationships our families, and our inner world. Growth through work is not something that needs to be forced. It happens naturally when we remain open, reflective, and willing to learn from every experience. Instead of being stuck in a repetitive loop of tasks, we begin to approach each day with curiosity. What is life trying to teach me through this challenge? How can I become a better version of myself today? Not just in my performance, but in my perspective. So, the real success isn't just reaching the top of the ladder. It's how many steps helped you rise in strength, maturity, awareness, and kindness along the way. Ours to be it's not just about the promotions or awards. It's about how your work has helped you polish your patience, grow your gratitude, and deepen your wisdom. That kind of success can never be taken away because it lives within you forever. The purpose of work is not solely to produce results, meet targets, or finish projects. While those outcomes are important, they are only the surface layer. If we go deeper, we realize that work is also a vehicle, a journey that helps us discover and express our true identity. Over time, the way we approach our responsibilities, the decisions we make under pressure, the ethics we maintain when no one is watching, all of these slowly shape how we see ourselves and how the world sees us. Work is not separate from who we are. It becomes a reflection of who we are becoming. Imagine someone who works as a nurse. Her job may involve routine tasks, checking vitals, administering medicine, maintaining records. But through the way she carries out those tasks, with compassion, attentiveness, and patience, she starts to embody those very values. Her role isn't just about procedures, it's about presence. She may not realize it, but day by day, her work is crafting her identity into one of care, reliability, and grace under pressure. Similarly, a teacher who takes time to connect with each student is not just fulfilling a role. He's shaping his identity as a mentor, a guide, a source of inspiration. What we repeatedly do at work becomes our habit, and our habits become our character. If we constantly cut corners, make excuses, or avoid responsibilities, it slowly becomes part of who we are, not just professionally, but personally. On the other hand, when we show up with discipline, attention to detail, and a spirit of contribution, we start to embody those qualities in all areas of life. We begin to see ourselves as capable, trustworthy, and purpose-driven individuals, not because of titles we earn, but because of the character we build. The work also gives us a sense of stability and identity in a world that's often uncertain. Think about it. When people introduce themselves, they often begin by saying what they do. I'm a doctor. I'm an engineer. I'm a designer. While we are certainly more than our job titles, the kind of work we do and how we do it becomes a powerful part of our identity. It's the reason why people feel lost or anxious when they're unemployed. Not just because of financial strain, but because their sense of contribution and identity feels shaken. But here's what's truly beautiful. We get to choose what kind of identity we create through our work. Are we going to be the person who complains, does the bare minimum, and passes blame? Or are we going to be someone who takes ownership, spreads positivity, and shows commitment regardless of the situation? Every day, with every action, we are answering that question, consciously or unconsciously, even in roles we didn't initially choose or enjoy, we can still choose who we become within them. We can take a simple job and fill it with energy, compassion, and excellence. And through that choice, we start shaping an identity that we can be proud of. One that isn't dependent on validation, but one that stands strong in its own integrity. So, if we wish to build a powerful, meaningful, and lasting identity, we must recognize that is not crafted in moments of celebration, but in the quiet hours of daily work. Every time we choose to act with dignity, give our best, and serve with sincerity, we are defining not just our job, but ourselves. And that identity will outlast titles, outshine achievements, and outlive temporary praise. It will become the legacy we carry, both within and beyond the workplace. The purpose of work is not merely to keep us busy or to help us pass time. It is to strengthen the foundation of who we are. It's not simply about earning a salary, gaining recognition, or climbing the corporate ladder. The real purpose of work is to give us a platform to develop essential qualities that last far beyond the workplace, like self-respect, responsibility, patience, and emotional maturity. Over time, the way we engage with our work doesn't just affect the outcome of a project, it begins to shape the entire architecture of our personality. There is a deep connection between how we work and how we feel about ourselves. Think of the days when you gave your full energy to a task, when you went the extra mile, when you did the right thing, even if no one acknowledged it. How did you feel at the end of that day? Probably tired, but proud. You felt a sense of inner stability, a quiet satisfaction that comes only from knowing you gave your best. Now think of a day when you procrastinated, cut corners, or avoided responsibility, even if no one else knew, something inside felt unsettled, didn't it? That feeling is your conscience trying to guide you toward a higher standard. The truth is, when we work with dedication, sincerity, and integrity, we begin to build trust, not just with others, but with ourselves. That self-trust is the root of confidence. It's what allows us to walk into any room, face any challenge, or make tough decisions with clarity when we know that we've held ourselves to a high standard. Day after day, task after task, we carry within us an unshakable sense of self-worth. No external recognition is needed to validate it. Work then becomes the gym for our character. Just as physical exercise strengthens our body, consistent effort in our responsibilities strengthens our discipline, sharpens our focus, and deepens our emotional resilience. We face setbacks, failures, criticism, and in navigating all of that, we evolve we learn how to stay grounded during success and how to stay hopeful during hardship. These qualities aren't just useful for our career. They are essential for every area of life, from relationships to parenting to personal well-being. Many people underestimate how deeply the habits we form at work shape our behavior elsewhere. If we consistently complain at work, we're more likely to carry that mindset into other areas. If we practice gratitude and problem solving in our professional space, those same qualities enrich our personal lives. You cannot compartmentalize attitude. The way you do one thing is often the way you do everything. So if you build strength, grace and integrity through your work, those virtues will naturally flow into every corner of your life. What we do every day slowly becomes who we are. That's why our daily work is so important. Not because every task is glamorous or exciting, but because it gives us the raw material to build something far more valuable than a product or service. It gives us the chance to build a stable, thoughtful, and empowered inner self. So even on days when the work feels routine or difficult, remember this, each action you take is writing the story of who you are. Each choice you make, whether to act with care or indifference, to rise to the challenge or avoid it, is shaping the structure of your inner world. And that inner structure becomes the foundation you stand on for the rest of your life. When we look back at our lives, the moments that will hold the most meaning won't just be the vacations we took or the celebrations we enjoyed. What will truly stay with us are the days we showed up, the times we gave our best despite exhaustion, the tasks we completed with care when no one noticed, and the silent victories we won within ourselves through our work. Because ultimately, our work is not just something we do to pass the time. It becomes a thread woven through the entire fabric of our lives. Think about how much of our lives are spent working. From the time we enter the workforce to the time we retire, year after year, month after month, our work consumes a major portion of our time and energy. But it's not the hours we spend that define us. It's how we spend those hours. Did we do our work with integrity? Did we take pride in our responsibilities? Did we put our heart into what we were doing, even when it felt mundane? These are the things that matter most when the applause fades, when the job titles change, when the external achievements no longer define us. Work gives us a timeline of transformation. If you observe carefully, you'll see the person you were when you started a job is often very different from the person you became while doing it. Not just because you gained skills, but because you faced challenges that demanded growth. You handled difficult people, you navigated pressure, you dealt with setbacks, and through it all, you learned patience, communication, empathy, and adaptability. These inner shifts are rarely celebrated, but they are what elevate us from simply existing to truly evolving. And often, we don't realize the value of our own journey until we're far ahead of it. We look back at the sleepless nights, the difficult clients, the overwhelming projects, and we smile, not because they were easy, but because we survived them. We grew through them. We emerged stronger, wiser, more grounded. Our identity wasn't built in the moments of ease. It was forged in the furnace of effort. Years later, the memories that will feel richest are the ones where you gave your all. Not necessarily the days you got awards, but the days you chose not to give up. The days you helped a colleague, stayed back to finish a task, or brought peace into a stressful situation. These quiet acts of excellence may not go viral on social media, but they will be engraved in the diary of your soul. And here's the beautiful paradox. While we work to build careers, make money, and achieve goals, what we're truly building is ourselves. Our decisions, our attitude, our resilience, our values. All of these are being refined every single day through the work we do. This process is invisible but irreversible. Once you grow through your work, you can never go back to being the person you were before. So as the years go by and life continues to unfold, you'll come to understand that your work has been one of your greatest teachers. It didn't just pay your bills. It taught you about life. It tested your limits, revealed your strengths, and made you discover what truly matters. And that quiet realization that your work helped define not just your career, but your character, is one of the most fulfilling truths you'll ever carry with you.